Let's start with the Fall 48 invite. 48 of the very best high school boys players in the area, including South Carolina, were here. Let's set the table a little bit. Our area right now has 25, by my count, college players playing in college, 9 Division I guys. What are your thoughts on, out of those 48 guys, how many of those guys might play college basketball one day?
It's funny because when we're watching the event, obviously it's a great group of talent. Kids are playing well, and kids have a lot of things that you can see translating to the next level. For instance, like Timmy Sellers is probably the only surefire guy that we know out there is going to play right now. He has size, he has athleticism. From what I'm hearing, he has a great work ethic. He really competes and loves to play. Trey Gomillion, is a guy that, is probably arguably our area's best player, but he runs into the thing, what is he? What is he going to be at the next level? He's too short to be this, he doesn't shoot it well enough to do this, you know what I mean? So it's kind of funny, but as history tells us, you just said we have 25 guys over the last 5 years, so that says 5 guys, and it's crazy to think that as much talent that was on the floor on Sunday, that only 5 of those guys are going to play at the next level.
Yeah, and you mentioned like Timmy's such a surefire guy because he's big and he's athletic, and there's just there's a spot for him, with a scholarship program. Trey, I'll say with him, you mentioned size, shooting, slimmed down, looks a lot more athletic, and he made shots. And I think his shot looks pretty good, has always looked pretty good. So I think, he might be on track to really prove that he has a kind of a place at the next level. Guy like Anthony Ray from Midland Valley, 6'4", athletic, can shoot, scored a bunch of points in that. Took his fair share of shots.
Oh, yeah.
But scored.
As he should.
Yeah, and especially in that kind of event, right? Yeah. Scores a bunch of points. So, he turned some heads. There were some coaches asking about him. And so it's tough. It's really tough. Like we said, 25 in 4 years. If there's 8 or 10 that end up being scholarship players, whether they're in the senior class this year, the junior class this year, sophomore class this year, that will not be a bad showing, and I think that's something that is kind of amazing. I've got my list here of my short list of the best players in town, and only I'd say 3 of them, Timmy, Trey, and Nate Dunlop out of Augusta Christian, 6'5" junior, are kind of the sure things when it comes to like scholarship level player. And then there's a few more on my list, and then there's about 25 guys who can just as well be at the top of that list or at the bottom of that list or in the middle of that list, and they're all really good players. If you were playing basketball here Sunday, you've accomplished a lot, you've proven a lot, and you've got what it takes to be successful in life, and if you apply the lessons that you've learned on the court. So it's to be commended to be in that group.
Yeah, and I'm going to go out on a limb and say that group Sunday is going to exceed that 5-player number.
Well, 5 might be in one class.
Yeah.
Because if there's 25 in 4 years, that's 5 or 6 per class.
Right.
So what would you say over under on about 10 or 12?
I'm going to go over. I'm going to say about 15 of those guys are going to play at the next level. You talk about a guy like Dylan Cardwell, who's a sophomore, who's always in the gym, who's gotten, better so fast.
6'8",
yeah,
6'8", 15-year-old sophomore from Evans.
Yes.
He can play.
Yes. He's lacking the game experience. What I see, he's a guy I think spent some time on JV last year as well as varsity, but this year he'll be on varsity full time. He's going to get a lot more game experience. I assume he's going to play travel ball, probably for somebody that's pretty good, and he's going to play again. He's going to spend the whole summer playing against really good players that are better than him, so he's going to get better from that. And I think the kid has probably as big of upside as any kid we have in the area, just mainly due to his size and his will to work hard and expand his game.
Well, you mentioned the 6'8", 15-year-old Dylan Cardwell, another sophomore who's got good size, and size means so much when you're talking about these scholarships. John Whitehead from Glen Hills, 6'5". He didn't have a blow-away day, but he played well. He always plays hard. He's athletic. That's the kind of guy that's definitely on the radar for the future. What we don't talk about a lot is guys that don't have a lot of size, because it just is what it is. Most of the guys that get to the next level start with size. Now, another example of that, Najee Baltimore from Aiken, 6'6" junior. Remember what I texted you before the event about him?
You're dead on. You're dead on. The kid can play.
Yeah.
I mean, the kid can flat out play.
I said I expected him to be the best post player there. Now, Timmy kind of blew that up. Timmy Sellers, he played so well. A lot of what he did was actually from the perimeter.
Yes.
But Najee Baltimore is an old school post player out of Aiken, a junior, 6'6", got a jump hook, got an inside game. But some guards that played well. We mentioned sophomores a second ago. Christian Chambers out of Evans, he gets better and better. He's about 6'2" now. Did you see him dunk?
Yeah, I saw him dunk. You know, he has some talent on the offensive end, but I want to see him do more on the defense.
Well, he disappointed you in the second game.
Yes,
Talk about that.
He did. You know, he made a couple plays, and I know it was getting late in the day, but at the end of the day, you're out here on the court, you got to compete. He walked back a few times and didn't get back on. It just seemed disinterested. And if I'm a coach and I'm watching a young kid, those are things I look at. Body language is very important to me. Is the kid compete? Is he taking plays off?
Yeah. And
he took some plays off in the end and seemed disinterested. So the body language as well as taking plays off were negative for me. You know, the kid is still young, but those are things he definitely has to change if he wants to play at the next level.
Yeah, and you were coaching him, and you put him on the bench for the last 10 minutes. And, you know, Christian's a good guy. I love him to death. Whenever I see him, I tell him how proud I am of him. So, you know, hopefully he'll take that constructive criticism well. You know, there's a guy out of 48 guys, there was one guy who left after one game.
Yeah.
Wasn't pleased with his playing time, or wasn't pleased with the amount of playing time a teammate got, or maybe something like that, and he left. Those are things that I don't think that's wise. You know, a guy like you that played at Duke, coaches are probably gonna check with you on a local player. I know a lot of them check with me. So it is what it is, but those kinds of things aren't all that wise to do.
Definitely, and I'm going to be honest, because, you know,
your reputation's on the line.
Exactly. I'm going to be honest. So be careful what you do. You know, you never know who's watching, who's talking to who. So just try to come out here and play hard and do things the right way. And respect the game and the opportunity you have.
Yeah, sure, for sure. Another couple guards that were good. You know, Melvin Mackey, you gave me a special mention of him. I missed the second game. You said he hit about 10 threes.
It was great the last game. Really shot it well, played hard, and that's the difference. You take it. He's in that same game with the Chambers kid. You know, the last game of the day, everybody's tired, but you know he made it his best game of the day. Played hard, and the thing I liked about his performance is his teammates fed off of him, and they played even harder. You know, I think the last game they scored 100 points. And, you know, it's not a lot of defense being played, but still the last game of the day, guys are trying to find him because he's on fire. He's finding guys, and they play hard, and they had fun doing it. And that's what it's about. Every time you hit the floor, you should play hard together and have fun doing it.
Yeah, and that's Melvin Mackey out of South Aiken. He's a scoring machine. He's been leading the Thoroughbreds for 3 seasons now. A couple guards that played really well, and this will maybe get us into talking about what we see for the high school season coming up based on what we saw Sunday. Eric Graham from Grovetown, he impressed Kyle Sandy from Sandy Spiel, and it was kind of, you know, we've been seeing him fill up the nets for a while now. And his teammate, Nick Tolbert from Grovetown, really scorched the nets. So you were kind of pleased or optimistic about the future of Grovetown. Talk about some of that. Talk about the teams that you expect to maybe do well this year based on what you saw Sunday.
I like Grovetown, but I see and get a chance to work with some of those guys. But I see Graham is in the gym every day. Jeremiah, the transfer from Minnesota.
Jeremiah Smith, 6'8" junior from transfer from Minnesota.
That's right. He was in the gym Wednesday night with us here working hard, and they have athletes all over the floor. You know, Nick Tolbert shoots it, athletic. Graham, never afraid of the big moment, played well here, and it's crazy to say, but he actually competed defensively in the showcase where there's not a lot of defense being played, but I saw one time he was playing against Dante Justice from Baldwin, who's a player we'll talk about later. You know, had a really good day and is a good player, and you know, he kind of had it going. Well, had it going, and Graham, you know, took the challenge to defensively to guard him and took it from him, laid it up on the other end. So just seeing him do those things, and we both have a long history with Graham, and that's the one thing we wanted him to do when he was younger, because he has the talent, no question about that. Would start to compete and play defense, because he can score the ball with anybody.
Yeah. So you mentioned Dante Justice from Baldwin. That team came out of nowhere to win the region championship last year, beat Richmond in the region championship game. Plays in a region with Thompson, Burke County, really good teams. And Buck Harris is their coach, old Augusta guy. They look good. Dante Justice looked great. He was in the terrific 10 list that I published at AugBball. Aiken. Wow. So Aiken's got a 6'6" center in Nazi Baltimore, another 6'7" post, Antonio Bussey, two wings that stand 6'4", Kevin Williamson and Calvin Mathis, all played great on Saturday. They've got a really good guard.
Jordan.
Jordan Lights.
Yeah.
Good player. That team went to the Elite Eight last year. I think they lost 5 games all season, and they've got state championship potential.
I agree. No pressure, coach, but I'm expecting Aiken to cut down the nets and win the state championship. You guys are loaded. You have athletes. You play hard. The work ethic is there. I saw it the other morning. You guys went to the gym at 6 a.m., and this was coming off of this Sunday event. So they love to play. Seems like they want to be in the gym. They want to get better. That's a great recipe for a championship team. So no pressure, coach, but I expect you to win it all.
So Aiken, another Aquinas. In addition to Trey Gamillion, who, as you said, every time he steps on the court, in this area, he tends to be the best player on the court. In addition to him, 6'4" guard Daniel Parrish, who transferred in from South Bend. You like him?
Love that guy. Does a lot of things. At 6'4", in high school, he's a rim protector.
Yeah.
I watched him go from left side and block a shot above the rim, grab. He can just make plays, he'll have 6 points, but it'll feel like 30, just the way he can impact the game. He competes, he can shoot it from deep, he can get in the lane, can create for others, he defends, he's vocal, seems like he loves to play. I think him and Gamillion leading that Aquinas team with Coach Darren Douglas and his leadership, I think they have a good chance to win it all as well.
They're working real hard in the offseason. You mentioned Aiken being in the gym at 6 a.m. before school. The Aquinas guys are working really hard. I've seen them in action during the offseason in the weight room. Another thing about Aquinas, they've got 4 guys 6'5" and above. One of them, a sophomore, Chris Williams, transfer from Grovetown. I was standing next to a coach the other day who, when he found out Chris was a sophomore, he got really interested. He looks like he's real comfortable out there. He can make jump hooks. He's under control. He's active. That Aquinas team is going to be a great team. And I happen to know, first of all, it's public that they play in the Hoops Giving tournament, high-profile tournament in Atlanta to open their season. And I think their first game may be against a high-profile opponent, but there's nothing public about that yet, so I'll wait on the news there. So Aiken, Aquinas, rounding out my top four or five teams, I've got Baldwin up there. I've got North Augusta up there. Nobody from North Augusta played in the event. That's the only local team that didn't have any representation in the event. So be it. Good players, good team, well-coached team over there. A team that I think everybody around here thinks will be really good is Glen Hills, and I do too. They're stacked. I think a key for them will be getting the ball to Timmy Sellers, and they tend to not get it to him in the post. But, man, he proved the other day that he can attack from anywhere, whether it be transition with the ball in his hand or from the wing. He went between his legs a few times and finished with his right, with his left. Man, if he gets the ball a lot, if John Whitehead gets the ball a lot, they will be tough.
Yeah, but the big key for them, I think, is getting Isaiah Bowman to transfer from Westside. You got a point guard transferring to a team that's full of talent. Does Isaiah Bowman be the Isaiah Bowman of Westside, or does Isaiah Bowman defer because he kind of knows this is Timmy Sellers' team? I think Glen Hills needs Isaiah Bowman to be the Isaiah Bowman that he was at Westside, that he was with Sports Academy South throughout the summer, being aggressive, being the scoring point guard. that is for them to take their game to the next level and be right in that mix to make a state title run as well. Whitehead is a young kid. He has all the tools, athletic, shooter. He doesn't understand how to play right now. And if you get a kid like Isaiah Bowman who could kind of lead that team and kind of take Whitehead under his wing, who knows? But on paper, Glen Hills is probably on paper the best team in the area. Will that happen? We don't know. I think the key to that team is Isaiah Bowman, his adjustment. What does he do?
Yeah, and he did have a big off season. He got an offer from Columbia State Junior College, which is a fine junior college program out of Tennessee. Now, before we move on past teams, Lakeside's another one. One represented here besides sophomore Tyshawn Briscoe, who had a pretty big day shooting the basketball. But none of the other guys were here. But, a guy, Kalen Williams, super talented, 11th grader, got a tall kid, Tucker Gilbert. And then before we move all the way past teams, you never count Laney out. They've won 4 straight region championships. They have 3 dynamite guards who all played well Sunday. It seems like Laney just is always so good that everybody's always kind of waiting for them to not be good again, and then they always have players in those 3.
And the kids always play with a chip on their shoulder, which I love. I'm a big Donald Henley fan. He has it. His quickness, he's tough, he shoots the ball, can make plays forever. P.J. Walker, D. John Griffin are all great assets to have. They can shoot, they can slash, they can defend. I mean, they're tough. I mean, Laney's always going to be there.
Sure.
We talk about Buck left, and they're right back in the mix. Christian Keelan and Zep Jasper leave. They're right back in the mix. They're always there. The culture has been established, and these kids know that. And they bring that every night. They expect to win and they expect to be there in the end.
Yeah. Another, you mentioned guys playing with a chip on their shoulder. We'll finish with Butler as far as teams, preseason teams to talk about. Chip on your shoulder. Nobody has a bigger chip on his shoulder than Dres McBride, and he's on my short list. I got 6 guys listed here as the best players in town.
Maybe it's something in the water there. We know another guy that played that always had a chip on his shoulder that worked pretty good for him, Don Coleman.
Yes. Did you see that picture of Don working out with Steph Curry this week?
Yeah, I was talking about that last night. Those are the things you love in this part of the season for college players because, if you're in an area where pros are, they come back and play pickup, and you can kind of measure yourself and kind of take some things from them, see how they play the game, how they think the game and stuff like that. It's always good. I'm glad Don is taking advantage of that and, get right up under that guy and soak up as much knowledge as you can because that's a pretty good guy to learn from.
Heck yeah. Speaking of guys, Christian Keeling was in the Augusta University gym along with Zep Jasper last week. Man, Christian has grown and he's gotten tougher and stronger. He's going to be playing for some money overseas, if not even more high profile.
I agree.
One day. Okay, so I think that kind of does the boys. Let's talk about the girls. A few weeks ago, you had an unbelievable event in here. 48 players. Was it 48?
Close to 60.
Close to 60.
Yeah.
Close to 60. Yeah. But that was from 4 different states. Mm-hmm. Was not a local only thing. Maybe 10 players or so from our area, maybe a few more. But, man, it was tough. It was good. And then you've got a thing coming Sunday with unsigned seniors.
Yes.
So talk a little bit. We've got some girls who are being mentioned nationally. We just had Daisha Benjamin commit to the University of Alabama. Tell us about the girls' basketball team.
The girls' basketball scene has grown probably faster than anything. The thing before obviously I stepped in, I have 2 daughters. My daughter Yasmin plays at Greenbrier. And so I really wanted her to get the best experience that she could. I wanted her to learn, wanted her to get out and compete against the best players in the country. And doing that, myself and Roy Pete got together and we started pulling the best girls in the area. And then we started pulling the best girls all the way to Morgan County, all the way to Savannah and through South Carolina. And we've got them together, got them playing together and taking them to all these national events where they're getting to play against really good competition in front of college coaches all the time. But, like I said, it's grown. One of the things we always had is size. Mm-hmm. To me, a 6'2" girl is like a 6'8", 6'9" boy. And we got more 6'2" girls than we have 6'8", 6'9" boys mm-hmm. in the area. And and the kid, they just and they kind of had a chip on their shoulder, whether it's being overlooked, nobody really following the girls' game, and it has picked up tremendously, and they're benefiting, and not only are they are benefiting, they're inspiring younger girls. What Khadijah Cave, did at Baylor and now overseas, and now she comes in the gym and works out, and kids get to work out with her or see her working out. She's impacting this community, and she doesn't even really know it.
Well, let's talk about some of the numbers with these girls. So they pretty much, I won't say put the boys to shame, but they have made their mark. Last season, we had 6 Division I signees out of this area. On the girls' side, 0 on the boys' side. Now we also had 3 Division II signees, so 9 players scholarship basketball versus 3 or 4 Division II on the boys' sides and a couple junior college. So they really represented themselves well. We just got news yesterday that Elena Davis, who's playing high major ball with Memphis, they're going to play on national TV 8 times. They're going to play UConn on national TV. They're going to play Temple, which features the male twins from Hepzibah, also playing high major ball. Daisha Benjamin just committed to Alabama. Jasmine Robinson, I expect her from Richmond, a freshman at Troy, to have a huge season this year. And then Kwajalein Farrar, for instance, she was the Rookie of the Year in the Peach Belt at USC Aiken, Grovetown product, just last year. The girls are everywhere. They're making a huge mark. I'll end my part of it by mentioning. Oh goodness.
What do you think about?
Oh yeah. So this year we're going to have North Augusta and Laney. Unless they play each other, my prediction is they'll both go undefeated and win their second straight state titles. And Daisha Benjamin, if she wins, she will have won 3 state titles in 4 seasons. Nobody, girl or boy, has ever done anything remotely close. Has anybody won 2?
No, nobody's won 2. She has a chance to historically have the best high school career of anybody that's come through here,
yeah.
boy or girl. And a lot of people don't know, like Elena Davis last year, she finishes her career with over 1,500 points, over 1,000 rebounds. Yeah. I don't know if that's been done.
Yeah. And then who played better than Jasmine Robinson, including those 2 ladies we just named?
Yeah.
Did anybody play better than her? I mean, what a season.
Individually, what did she get? 50 one game?
Yeah, she got 50.
She go 2,000 or 3,000 points for her.
2,000 for her career. Scored 50 in a game against Hepzibah, who had a couple Temple players. And that region championship game between Richmond and Cross Creek, Jasmine Robinson on one side, Elena Davis on the other side, that was the most entertaining single game I watched all season. She was magical. So, I mean, and that's why I say we got a lot of high major girls now.
And let's go a little bit deeper in that game. The state game they won, she fouls out, the third quarter?
Talk about Jakaya Parker.
And Jakaya Parker picks it up, and nobody even knows Jakaya Parker because, it's the Jasmine Robinson show, and as it should be. But, Jakaya Parker plays in that event you talked about when we had the kids from 4 different states, and Dan Olson from ESPN is here. She leaves that event in the top 40 guards in the country.
Yeah. Top 40 guards in the country. That's the kind of thing we haven't seen the likes of that since Ahmed Hill was playing basketball here. Now, speaking of her, Kiani Westbrook, Jakaya Parker was Jasmine Robinson's teammate. Kiani Westbrook was Elena Davis's teammate. Talk about Kiani, where she is and where she is on the radar.
And Kiani is a kid that can be as good as she wants to be.
And she's at
Burke County now. She can be as good as she wants to be. Played really well in that event also. Came out the number 21 forward in the country. And, the thing that I tell kids is don't get caught up in being top, whatever. Look at it as somebody thinks, in her situation, somebody thinks there's 20 players at your position better than you. So go out and prove them every night that you're the best at your position. And I think you'll end up being okay. You got Deja Benjamin's ranked nationally. All these girls, just never set girls ranked nationally. That's a thing that's never been mentioned about our kids, in the area. And we got more to come. If you look at the young kids, Greenbrier just got a transfer from Tennessee, 6'2", 6'3", Shamaria Gaines that has a chance to be really good. Body type like Elena Davis. doesn't move as well as Elena Davis, but right hand, left hand, can guard the pick and roll. She has a huge upside. Jordan Dorsey at Cross Creek is one of the more talented kids we have in the area. I mean, freshman, yeah, point guard with size. I think she has a chance to be a high major kid when it's all said and done. It just keeps coming. It just keeps coming. We had a 7th and an 8th grade girl from Greenbrier Middle and Riverside Middle and Trinity Barrow and Sydney Peak play in a middle school girls All-American game last Friday in Atlanta. So, just the girls are working hard in the gym and they're playing a lot. Mm-hmm. They're playing a lot, and that's always a good thing for young kids.
Yeah, Trinity, Sydney, and then also in Columbia County at the middle school level, Jessica Dowdy's a good player, and then Grovetown went undefeated last year. So I think the Columbia County girls middle school basketball of all things is really picking up. So anything you want to say about the upcoming senior event? Well, like time, place?
We'll start games at 1 o'clock. Skill development will be from 12 to 12:45, and we look to have 8 to 10 schools in. Some of the kids that's kind of flown under the radar be playing, Yasmin Avery, Greenbrier, Lexi Jeffcoat, Evans, Natalie Wilson from Greenbrier, Jessica Williams from Laney, Quindasia Hamilton out of Burke County, a great shooter many people may haven't seen.
Okay. By the way, Jessica Williams is one of my personal favorite.
Yeah.
Phenomenal player.
Yeah. Outside, shoots the ball, rebounds well. Can do a lot of things. A great asset to that championship team last year, and I think it's going to be a key for them winning another one.
And she's another one that's going to maybe pick up her 3rd state championship, been involved in all 3, if another one comes, all 3. So let me say real quick, we've gotten a lot of cool people to join in. Darius Jackson, the coach at Aiken, just joined in. Lenny Carlson joined in earlier, assistant coach at Augusta University, probably knows more about basketball than everybody combined in Augusta, besides maybe you, Will. Charles Nasworthy, assistant coach over at Augusta Christian, great guy. He used to coach Eric Graham, who we talked about earlier in youth basketball. And then there was Ashley Brown. Our buddy Ashley Brown checked in a little bit earlier. So thanks, y'all, for checking in. Now, and to finish up, girls, got to mention a little bit more about North Augusta. I'll just say it real quick, and then we'll move on. Amari Young, a senior, kind of
ODU commit.
She's a stud. Is it Old
Dominion?
It's not East.
Old Dominion.
Sorry, yeah. Old Dominion, Division I. Congratulations to her. Sarah Cruz is
Lander commit.
Did she commit to Lander?
Lander, from what my sources tell me, she committed to Lander.
And Lander's a Peach Belt power. That team had 2 players commit to Peach Belt schools last year. We got a Division I and a Peach Belt powerhouse commit this year, and then Maya Burns next year will be probably a Division I player.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Great student as well.
Undefeated last year, state title. North Augusta, something else. All right, so let's do a little football. All right, so AugBball covers football. There was a feature paper of your daughter's high school, feature in the paper of your daughter's high school, Greenbrier. They host Richmond tonight, 2 3-0 teams. Ashley Brown, who checked in earlier, he does, he's the pro with football. He picked Greenbrier. Greenbrier was featured in the paper today. I'm going with Richmond. Those are 2 teams that really run the ball well. Richmond also has a lot of speed, some ability to go over the top with, the passing game to guys like Clydell White and D.T. Stevens, a basketball star. And but Clydell White, in addition to catching the ball down the field, he'll take a direct snap and take off. And then they've got a guy named Torrey Taylor who transferred from Thompson, ran for 4 touchdowns last year. Both teams have good offensive lines, big offensive lines. Greenbrier's got a really good defense. That was featured in the paper today. But I think that Richmond offense will be able to move the ball and score. And if they get ahead of Greenbrier is going to be in trouble because it's a run-only attack. Now, maybe that'll come back to bite me because maybe keeping it simple and disciplined will be the secret to Greenbrier's success. But I'm picking Richmond. You've got a daughter at Greenbrier. What do you say?
I'm going Greenbrier. It's homecoming. 2 3-0 team.
Is it homecoming?
It's homecoming tonight. So you didn't know that. It's homecoming tonight. Homecoming tonight. It's going to be electric out there. But one thing Greenbrier has to do not throw the ball in DT Stevens' area.
Okay.
I don't know how many picks this kid has,
yeah.
but he is a ball hawk, and every time he has great hands. Every time they throw it, he gets it, and he can turn it into 6. So I'm with you, Greenbrier, tonight, but let's keep the ball away from DT Stevens.
Yeah, they're tough. J.Q. Brown gets all the attention, but that's a heck of an offensive line anchored by Eric Chatham. He's tough. I saw him put guys on their back all week against Harlem last week. Region starts up for the 2A region, and on WJBF, Ashley Brown on the call, along with Matt Lane and others. Glen Hill's at Harlem. Harlem, we talked about that 9th grade running back, Cameron Garnett. He's a stud. He's about 215 and runs as a freshman. A.J. Brown. I think Harlem is going to take Glen Hills tonight. Harlem, Glen Hills, Laney, maybe Josie, they're all going to fight for that 3rd and 4th position in the state tournament or the state playoffs after Jefferson County and Screven County. So we'll see if I get that right. I think Harlem will take that. Evans goes to Waco. Evans is tough, man.
Are we really taking 4 teams out of the region in the state playoff?
Yeah. Some of these regions, like in South Carolina, that region with Aiken, South Aiken, North Augusta, and Miller Valley, they have 5 teams, and they take 4.
Come on, man. It's not 4 good teams in the region. It's not.
Yeah. So those are a couple of the games. Obviously, the powerhouses are Thompson, number 2 team in 4A. They're off this week. Burke County's been great. Over on South Carolina side, North Augusta, South Aiken, and Strong Thurman are all ranked in the state. Next week is when I start covering South Carolina ball, and what better way to start than North Augusta versus Strong Thurman. A week or 2 after that, it'll be North Augusta versus South Aiken, so that'll be fun. Well, this was fun.
Good. We can't leave with that talking about the human highlight reel of Lamar Jackson in this Louisville Clemson game, man.
Well, you went to Louisville versus Clemson with Daisha Benjamin last year on an official visit to Clemson. I watched that game. That was by far the best college game I've seen, I think, since Texas versus USC a long time ago. That was a great game. You saw it live. Who wins the big Clemson-Louisville game this week?
I'm going with Louisville. Louisville in this situation a year ago against Florida State, big game at home.
Oh my goodness, they routed them.
The underdog. I mean, this kid Lamar Jackson, especially. I'm saying he gets the Heisman again. I don't think anybody can stop him. I just don't think the difference last year with Watson and Mike Williams and that offense was explosive. They can put points on the board. I don't think Clemson can keep up with Louisville this year. I think Lamar Jackson is going to put points on the board. I don't care how good people think that defense is at Clemson. They haven't played Lamar Jackson.
Well, they couldn't bring him down last year. Yeah. And now you don't have, to your point, it seemed like last year the difference in the end was Watson just kept coming and throwing touchdown passes to Williams and those guys. But, the funny thing about Lamar Jackson, he doesn't hit the ground. Yeah. He'll break a bunch of tackles and then end up in the end zone on his feet.
And he can make every throw. He can beat you with his feet. He competes. Last year I left at halftime. We thought the game was over.
Okay. Because they were up big.
Yeah. I'm listening to satellite radio on the way back, and this guy just brings them back. And a few yards away from winning the thing. And you had probably the best player, although he didn't win the Heisman, Deshaun Watson, on your team.
Yeah.
As we saw how special he was last night, his 2 big runs, once went for a touchdown, the other one set him up for a field goal late in the game, won the game last night in his first start in the National Football League,
Well,
on the road.
And all the talking heads are talking about it's too early, or maybe, how they do with quarterbacks that have legs. It's like, he doesn't fit in the NFL, that kind of garbage. But, he's a winner.
Yeah.
He's a winner. All right, well, thanks for sticking with us. A lot of people joined in. There's Roy Peak. Roy Peak said, what's up? What's up, Roy?
What's going on, Roy? Got to get you on here, man.
Here's what we're going to do. I'll hit end here in a second, but when the season comes around, we're going to do a weekly AugBball Ball media poll and an AugBball Ball coaches poll. I'm going to get the coaches to vote on the coaches poll, and then the media poll is going to be the first 3 voting members that I can think of off the top of my head are me and you and Roy.
Okay.
And so we're going to vote on boys, vote on girls. Roy got to see the best players in town the other day. He was saying last night that he had kind of lost touch with the boys game, but now he's right back in it, and he'll bring a lot to the table with that. So we'll try to do this as often as possible. Thanks for checking in.
Thank you, guys.
Anything before you go?
Go Greenbrier tonight.